Tantric travelers, welcome to the Taurus birthday party. I've been fiddling around trying to get a spot here in the setting sun to connect with the beautiful Taurian energy. And as you probably know, Taurus is ruled by Venus, but also ancient ruler the sun. So Taurus is a very solar energy, and I wanted to demonstrate that, but it's a little hard to get set up so that I can actually see what's going on and read the cards and drink the wine without being in the shade. So we're going to enjoy as the sun sets in front of me and the moon rises behind, and tomorrow is our full moon in Scorpio, the opposite sign of Taurus in the zodiac. So Taurus and Scorpio are 2 points on the 4 gateways that the Milky Way travels through, the Milky Way moves through on our cosmic journey. If you look at the zodiac, we have Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio, and they make up the gateposts for the gateway that our beautiful Milky Way travels through. And it's a beautiful thing, and a lot of people speak about the Lion's Gate, but right now we're in this amazing eclipse energy of passing through the gateway point of Taurus and Scorpio with the eclipse energy, the solar eclipse in Taurus at the end of April, and tomorrow the full lunar eclipse, which is visible from almost everywhere on Earth, in the powerful, mysterious, surprising, and shocking, deeply healing sign of Scorpio. And I may do an eclipse reading after the eclipse, but I will just mention that if you're planning on observing the eclipse from a spiritual perspective, from a psychological perspective, it is not always recommended or necessary to visually make contact with the covering of the moon or the sun during the eclipse. And I know with the solar eclipses, you probably know that this can be very concentrated light energy, which can actually burn our eyes. But it's also very concentrated spiritual and psychological energy, and it's not really necessary for us to visually observe that. It's better for us to, from the time that we know the eclipse is beginning, the covering of the moon or the sun is beginning, we can go into a releasing meditation, and that is probably one of the most powerful things we can do. And then it is actually beneficial, and it is actually invigorating and enlivening and empowering to view the uncovering, so the return of the light. Of course, there are different kinds of magical practices in which both phases, the covering and the uncovering phases of the eclipse, are used, viewed, meditated upon, and that's completely up to you. But I do want to warn you that it can sometimes be a shock to the system, especially when it's in such a profoundly powerful position as it will be tomorrow. So another thing that we can meditate upon and we can keep in mind during this eclipse energy is that there is a point in the eclipse that is kind of the halfway point. And that is really, especially with the Taurian, which is a very solar energy, and the dark Plutonian energy of Scorpio complementing one another. If we're practitioners of the medium, the middle path, if we dabble in the shadows and play in the light, both, then this is also a very powerful point in the eclipse energy for practitioners to use. and for all awakening humans to engage with as really, I was thinking about it, and the name of a Joni Mitchell album comes to mind in a song which is called Both Sides Now, and that's really what eclipse energy is. So it gives us an opportunity to not point the finger, but actually to not to point it at others, but to deeply, deeply look at our own unfolding, at our own evolution, and the places that we need to work are the places that we want to change, the places that we want to evolve, the places that we want to improve. And when we improve for ourselves, it generally, in spite of some initial reactions, it's generally a good thing for everyone. And the cool thing about refraining from pointing the finger when you're engaged in interactions, especially with other humans, the cool thing is if you look at the possibilities of your own potential, your own space for growth, and you welcome that in through conscious thoughts, words, and actions, even if someone else's behavior is on the surface annoying to you or triggering to you or tickling to you, if you take it as an opportunity to make space and fill that space with a change in your own life, then that's a huge victory for you. And really, our opponents and those who trigger us and those who get on our nerves, when we stop pointing the finger at them, it really opens the portal to unconditional love for them as well as ourselves. And I know it's challenging, but I would highly recommend it after you have a little vent to explore ways that you can not only see it from the other side, but understand that you are both sides now. In this present moment, you are the other and the self. And that's something that I've been taking through this eclipse season, and it's been super challenging for me as well. But I'm managing to straddle both, I think. if straddling this eclipse energy is a thing. So I want to welcome you thoroughly to full enjoyment of this Taurus season, and to all you Taureans, to all you beautiful, horned, beautiful creatures, you milky, milky moo-moos. I hope you're having an amazing birthday season. This is, I always say, when the past two Taurian seasons have come and I've had this channel, I know I've said that it's one of my favorite times of the year, and it is undeniably one of the most beautiful times of the year in many places that I've been on Earth. I don't know exactly what it's like in the far, far south. Maybe if you are viewing from the southern hemisphere, Australia or Argentina or South America, you can let me know what the season is like there. You can let us know in the comments, but it's probably maybe a really lovely part of fall. I hope it is. Here where I am in the northern hemisphere, it's beautiful. It's kind of a late spring energy. We're waiting for the rain, but the flowers are blooming. You can see this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous bougainvillea. I just love it so much. The colors are just extraordinary, and the herbs are coming out, and the birds are singing, and it's a really gorgeous time of year. And you Taurians, you really embody the abundance and the flowering, the flower of life. And you may remember from, if you've watched my other readings that I did in Taurus, that this is the season and the house that my dad was born in. And I always send special extra, extra love to his Taurian energy and try and stay open to all that he had to teach me and continues to help me with, even though he's on the other side now. And his mother, my grandma, was also born, she was born at the beginning of May, and I have many other aunties and uncles and cousins and good friends who are Taureans, and I really appreciate them. There's a goodness to the Taurian nature. You know, the word good-natured comes to mind when I think of you Taurians. I have Saturn in Taurus, which is not necessarily the most, here on Earth, is not necessarily the most sought after placement, because it can sometimes mean that if you had Saturn, which is sometimes like barriers, karmic challenges, it could mean that possibly I've had to, do some karmic clearing and learn a lot of lessons when it comes to my stability, my earthly abundance, my trust in the flow of abundance and the river, the golden river of abundance. And I've been trying to do that and trying to remember the Atlantean prayer of abundance during this Taurus season, where we think about our coin a lot, and we also think about our gardens a lot, and we think about maybe projects and seeds that we have planted, and maybe even perennial blossomings. If you think about the Taurian frequency, you could think definitely about the grape, the olive. There's a lot of Mediterranean energy. In fact, the countries Greece and Cyprus are ruled by Taurus, which is beautiful. And also one of the countries of my beloved dad's heritage, and my heritage, Ireland, is ruled by Taurus. I was surprised Mexico is actually ruled by Capricorn, because I thought Mexico might be ruled by Taurus. And with the sacrifice of the bull in bullfights that has been famously made in Mexico, which is basically it's a ritual in worship of the sun. It's a ritual in worship of welcoming the sun to our beautiful planet to nourish the earth, and also Spain. But in fact, Mexico is ruled by Capricorn, whereas the island of Capri, which actually means goat, is ruled by Taurus. So my dad loved Capri, and he loved the Mediterranean, and in fact, close to, in his later years, he and my mom sailed around the Mediterranean, and they went to Capri and Greece. I don't think they went to Cyprus, but I know he just loved it, and I sat with him and looked through his pictures so many times and asked for all the beautiful details, because I have always been enraptured with that beautiful part of the world as well. So here's to you, Dad. I love you. Fruit of the vine, fruit of the vine. I guess the grape doesn't fall that far from the vine. So Taurus is an earth sign, as you probably guessed, and I often mention Hathor when I'm speaking about Taurus in other readings, and Hathor is the horned goddess, the horned cow. So although the bull is often associated most with Taurus, the sun, the stability of the earth, the number 5 actually, which is all of our limbs and our head, and what comes in between that, which is the heart, the chest, the shoulders. Those are the body parts ruled by Taurus. And Taurians are just exemplary people for, as I was mentioning before, being good-natured. And goodness meaning trusting in the abundance of the land, trusting in the abundance of life, and that contagious kind of energy of always recognizing that the abundance of life supersedes the suffering of life. And I think that can really guide us through, hard times in this lifetime. And I hope that you are able to trust in the abundance of life especially in times of eclipse and times of uncertainty, as we've all just gone through and continue to experience here with the global economy. It's so important for us to trust our own creativity and trust ourselves as channels of divine abundance. It makes a huge difference to recognize that you're not a helpless player outside of the game, but you're the actual game. You're the fun, you're the game, you're the winnings. And it's the pleasure and the love that you put into it that really fertilizes, nourishes and waters the flower of life, which is, there's my feline friend, the flower of life, which is the increasing abundance that begins in the heart, the magical, mysterious, and so powerful organ, which is ruled by Taurus. And what else about Taurus? Okay, so I was looking for some famous Taureans. William Shakespeare, or the playwright poet known as William Shakespeare in the English language, wrote so many beautiful, creative, insightful, gorgeous, theatrical treatments of his/her observation of the human condition. And I will never stop appreciating the drama of Shakespeare. In fact, I may even look at one of the modern film treatments of a Shakespeare play sometime in the next couple days to celebrate Taurus. Also, the Russian politician and political leader Vladimir Lenin was a Taurian. And as far as famous movie stars go, I think Lenin actually spent a lot of time in Mexico, from what I recall, and that does not surprise me. George Clooney has a very Taurian look about about him, that kind of dark, sun-baked Mediterranean look, the fire behind the eyes. Taurians, yeah, they always have a certain fire, a certain gleam to them. And if they do have somewhat of a pronounced chest, whether that's in the more feminine aspect or in the masculine sort of barrel-chested, like bull-chested aspect, they will also have, the strong thighs and the strong haunches that support that. And that's kind of the body type of the Taurian energy. And I think George Clooney embodies that look nicely. They might have kind of, it's not as much the hair as it is for Arians and Leos. It's not as much about the hair. They might even have they could be bald, or they could have close shaven hair, or if they're female, even if they've got great hair, they might always wear it back, and kind of have a tail at the back. What else about Taurians? I think Taurians really probably should wear gold versus silver if they have a choice. I think gold, the essence of the solar that is present in gold, in aurum, I think that light and that fire and that warmth. It's not like the heat of Leo. It's not like the burning heat of Leo. It's the glow. It's the warmth of the May sunshine. And now, as the sun's going down, I'm really feeling it. It's really golden over there. I love it. I love sitting up here and having something to sip on. And today I'm drinking some white wine, some Chenin Blanc. So yes, if wine is of the late Leonine season, so if wine is from late August into September, even into October, then the grape is from Taurian season. And I would think probably that the olive is starting to ripen now in Greece and Cyprus and Capri and Italy. I love the Mediterranean cuisine, so did my dad. I wrote something about him saying that he grew more and more Italian with every passing year of his life. But in truth, now I know Ireland is ruled by Taurus too. So is the city of Dublin, by the way. A lot of poetry coming from there, and a lot of infamous enjoyment. People in their cups, in their poetry, loving the love of the feminine beauty and preservation of roots, of deep tradition. And I think Taurus is really about that too. The four legs of the animal really represent that stability. The four-legged animal, the horned cow or the bull with the crescent moon shape on the head is really showing that we are intuitively connected with the earth, and if we remain open to it, or if we reopen to it, we can communicate closely with the earth the way we used to, and we can find the right place to plant our flowers and trees, fruit trees. My dad grew fruit trees, and he fed the deer, which is also an animal ruled by Venus, so I consider it to be a Taurian animal, the wild version of the bull maybe. My dad grew apple trees and fed the deer with them. And he also hunted the deer and harvested the deer. So he was very in touch with the cycles of close connection with his planetary parent. And I love that about you, Dad. It really demonstrated so much to me. And thank you to all you Tauruses for doing that in all the ways you do, whether you're a writer, poet, a teacher of good nature, or you're participating directly in it as a chef, a winemaker, a brewer, a cheesemaker, anyone involved with the provisions, the good provisions of the table of life. I offer you my love and salutations. Happy birthday, Taurus. So I want to do a quick pick a card for everyone now, and I hope you're enjoying the season. I hope you're not getting too discouraged by all the surprises of Scorpio, of the Scorpio eclipse that we're already feeling, of course. I'm not going to talk too much about the eclipse. It is tomorrow night, and I think I might do a reading after it because everything tends to change. But I really wish you the best of luck and the most harmony and the most learning and evolution that you can open yourself to receive in this season, in this eclipse season. And please comment about anything that you wish. And if you wish to get in touch with me, always my email is in the comment box below. In the information box below. For private readings, I'm also available, and I do a wide variety of readings. I can even do, if you're interested, I can even do a private pick-a-card reading for you and your friends if you're celebrating something either physically together or even, it's available online, so you could all do it and then have a Zoom call while you're having your wine and your celebration. It's kind of fun. So if you have a shower or some kind of special birthday and you can't all be in one place, that's a suggestion to celebrate the Taurian season and every season. Okay, so what will our topic be? I think our topic has to be about the flower of life. The flower of life this Taurian season. Okay, so pile 1 is going to be represented by the beautiful bougainvillea. Here's a double blossom, bull's horns. And the second choice is going to be a sprig of arugula, delicious Italian herb. And the third is going to be another Mediterranean herb, basil al-bahaka. Probably shouldn't be eating these because the cat likes to sleep in the herb garden, like in the herb planter, full on and lounging. It's probably good for parasites and definitely good for staying cool and relaxation. Okay, so the question today for 1 bougainvillea, 2 arugula, or 3 basil. How are my beautiful tantric travelers, your guides, your ancestors, the beautiful sun, the planet Venus, the moon in Scorpio, it's the other side of Taurus. And if you've ever noticed, by the way, the bull, the shape of the bull's horns or the cow's horns is a direct magnified reflection of the shape of the scorpion's claws and tail. And by the way, I was stung by a scorpion at the beginning of this season. And I saw another giant one. Another giant one came to visit where I live. And I love it. I love it. It's deep healing. Deep healing. Here we have the 4 of Wands, which is, oh, this is Venus and Aries, but still, that's a cool card. You can see the heart ruled, the organ ruled by Taurus. And the 4 wands, as I was saying, the 4 legs of the animal, creating stability, you know, firmly planted into our beautiful earth, firm foundations in relationships, in business ventures, in families, you know, preparing now for the fertile season. So yeah, we're gonna ask piles 1, 2, and 3. What can you do to fertilize, water, and tend the flower of your life? I'm being very theatrical now. It must be the Shakespearean influence. Sorry. So what can you do to fertilize, water, and tend the flower of your life? And I'm going to draw 3 cards, 1 from each of my decks, with this gorgeous bougainvillea behind me. Okay, so for pile number 1, bougainvillea. What can you do to fertilize, water, and tend your flower of life? So your ever increasing and magnetizing and contagious, if you want to use that word in a better way than it has been recently, your contagious abundance, you know, you're increasing, you're multiplying abundance. Multiplying in, you know, a well-managed way. I would also say that the Taurian energy is very fertile. It's the energy of the Empress in the tarot, and Libra is as well. But it's also, it's like husbandry, you know, it's not abundance, it's not multiplication without, I don't want to say control, but without management. So it's like animal husbandry, and animal husbandry is something that, you know, women used to do more, the feminine used to do more, and it was about getting to know the animals and caring for them and tending them daily, and then knowing which or who was compatible with whom. And that can be applied to on the human level as well, you know. We can be involved in that kind of matchmaking in our own lives, with our plants, with our animals, and with our friends, with our endeavors. So keep that in mind, you know. And it's not just about getting knocked up and multiplying without any thought to it. It's about selective procreation. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, the bulls of the horn and the shape of the scorpion's tail and claws together also looks like the feminine reproductive organs. So I'm not surprised that there is a lot of discussion surrounding procreativity and kind of pointing the finger at the feminine as both being responsible for it, responsible for the outcome, but powerless in the process. And that is something that I have more than one complaint about. And you can also comment on that down below. But bougainvillea, your pile. What can you do to fertilize, water, and tend your flower of life? Okay. So, what can you do to fertilize your flower of life? Bougainvillea, bougainvillea. Okay, you have the Chariot. So this Chariot is ruled by Cancer, which is the mother, and the moon. And actually you can see the light colored horse and the dark colored horse here. And I think this is really reflecting what I spoke about in the Taurus birthday party, the energy of both sides now. So taking responsibility and coming into full awareness of both sides of your power, which is, you know, both the receptive and receiving, as well as the releasing and the giving. And this allows you to be steered forward with trust for the goodness of nature, in trust for the goodness of the natural. And when I speak of the natural, I don't just mean, you know, your garden, the forest, a lake. I'm talking about the universe. I'm talking about what exists that has always been light, water, the elements, and the laws of energy that cannot be tricked by any human construction, by any human configuration. So the laws of nature are the laws of nature, and what's being recommended for your fertilizing of them is, you know, fertilize it by acknowledgement of your shadow side, your dark side, your feminine, your receptive, your emotional, and then use that as fuel, balanced fuel, to move forward with the rational, the focused, the ambitious, the decided, the planned. So that's really like, you know, the spirit of animal husbandry or husbandry that I was talking about. And it's beautiful that this card, which is Major Arcana, is ruled by Cancer, the mother. So that's what you can do to fertilize. Now let's see, what can you do to water? So what can you do to water the flower of life, your flower of life? Bougainvillea, what can you do to water your flower of life? Wow, you have the 10 of Cups, 10 of Hearts, 10 of Cups. So speaking of watering, this is, what can you do? You can enjoy what you have. You can enjoy your family. You can enjoy the beauty that's around you. You can enjoy the art that you have created. And the 10 of Cups is really having it all in, you know, within and without, and acknowledging the abundance of your own life and seeing the beauty and the love that abundance is an expression of, is what you can do to water it. And maybe even speaking those words, expressing those words, or expressing those emotions through your words or through your art, and being specific to specific people and, you know, even your community around you, I think is what this card is really saying. How you can water your flower of life, increasing abundance, okay? And bougainvillea, how can you tend? So tending is kind of, you know, I feel like fertilizing is like preparation, watering is daily, a daily practice, and tending is, you know, looking at progress over the season. So it could almost be like in the future, but not at the point of harvest. So the flower precedes the fruit. So what can you do to tend your flower of life? Bougainvillea pile. Oh, interesting. You have El Valiente in reverse. So I think this is talking about not fighting it. And maybe not fighting something. Maybe you had to fight. Maybe you had to struggle, or you felt like you were struggling for some time in your life. And now this energy from the Loteria Mexicana is saying, you know, lay down your swords, lay down your knife, lay down your staff, and take a break and really be in that 10 of Cups energy, which is trusting in the goodness of nature. Congratulations. Really noisy. Congratulations, bougainvillea. I wish you much enjoyment, success, and evolution in this beautiful season and during the lunar eclipse in Scorpio tomorrow. Bye. Okay, second pile. Arugula. This is my favorite green. It's so bitter and nutty. Does that mean I'm bitter and nutty? If you chose arugula, plus I love the name. It sounds like a clown's horn. It sounds like somebody's going like, arugula. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, I didn't even have a chance to ask. So, okay, so arugula pile, what can you do? What can you do to fertilize, water, and tend your flower of life? And we're going to say fertilizing is preparation of the soil and preparation for the growing season. We're going to say watering is daily care or daily practices, and tending is longer term. So looking at the seeds that you're planting over the long term. So, okay, what can you do to fertilize? What can you do to fertilize your flower of life? You have the Magician. So what you can do to fertilize or prepare the soil, prepare the ground, prepare your own body, mind, heart for the abundance of the ever-increasing and multiplying flower of life is the Magician, number one. So this is recognition that everything that you need, that you are the golden river of abundance. The golden river of abundance flows through you like an endless current of honey as you release, receive, and give all that is needed with love. That's the Atlantean prayer of abundance, and it is very powerful for reprogramming any lack mentality or any poverty consciousness programming that we may have inadvertently received. So this Magician energy is really saying that you were born gifted and you have everything at this exact moment. You have everything that you need to prepare the earth and feed the earth, feed yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit, your heart with what you desire, with the experiences that you've already had and the wisdom you've already gained to create and procreate what you desire. So that's beautiful. And what can you do to water? So what daily practices do your guides and ancestors recommend to you to water your flower of life? Pile number 2, arugula. You have the Four of Wands, or the the Four of Clubs in the Gypsy deck. So it's the Four of Wands, and that was Venus and Aries. We saw that card come out, and this is really about, it can be about partnering with somebody, so it can be about a relationship or partnership with, you know, one individual or more. But it means that it would be two parties or two individuals or two partners who both are in full balance between their dark and light, their masculine and feminine, and they're really operating from the same central heart. They're really operating from the same position, the same belief, the same trust in the goodness of nature, in the good-natured abundance of the universe. So yeah, the Four of Wands, that's beautiful. This can also be, you know, symbolize a marriage, an actual wedding, a celebration. You could have a lot of these. This could be part of your business. It could be part of the season that you're foreseeing ahead. And these could be strategic or important events for you. Okay. So partnering with someone else, partnering with an equal partner could be a great way, you know, and looking at those around you on a daily basis as equal partners. If they're sharing your journey of creation, procreation, then that's what you can do on a daily basis. So create stability with your partners on a daily basis. Okay, now what about to tend? So looking further into the future, what can you do to tend? To tend your creative flower of life, your ever increasing and multiplying abundance. So Death card has come out in the Loteria Mexicana. So this is cutting away old growth. And if you haven't done that yet, this gardening season or this emotional season, coming out of the winter time or coming out of the summertime in the southern hemisphere, if you haven't cut away what isn't serving you, then it's time to do that. And you could do a releasing meditation. You could do a releasing meditation and really feel yourself, you know, feel the sensation of the river, the golden river of abundance flowing through you and washing away all that is no longer required, releasing that consciously and making space for to see the moon, so it was worth it. So making space for your new garden to grow. I don't know if you can see the moon. It's pretty extraordinary. There we go. Let's have the moon behind us now. So yes, that's what you can do. Pile number 2, arugula, to really nourish and nurture your flower of life. Okay. And pile number 3, delicious, tasty, nutritious, Mediterranean basil. If you plant basil at the front of your house or around your doorway, it attracts love and money. And anytime you want to attract love and money, you know, have something with basil and olive oil, and if you drink red wine, some red wine, and if you drink tea, drink a good tea, you know, like a milk oolong. Pile number 3. Okay, so delicious. Okay, so let's see. What could you do, pile number 3, to fertilize, water, and tend your flower of life in this beautiful, abundant Taurian season? What can you do, pile number 3, to fertilize? What can you do, basil, to better fertilize your ever-increasing abundance, the good nature of the universe? K, you have the High Priestess. So I think this is about trusting in the quiet growth, trusting that there are still some things beneath the surface that haven't emerged yet, and trusting that for the fertilizer to work, you have to leave it after you turn it. After you turn the compost into the ground, sometimes you have to leave it for a little while in order for the nutrients and the insects and worms to have their feast before the soil has become something that it wasn't before. Before it, becomes the rich, black, alchemical ground, alchemical table that our beautiful planetary parent is. And Chem, which means black soil, is the true name of the country of Egypt, and the Nile would flood in its time of inundation, and would fertilize, would carry all the detritus down to the delta, through the delta, and down into the growing areas where all the people lived, or where a lot of the people lived, and fertilize the soil. And that's where the word alchemy comes from, and alchemical comes from. So it's really about appreciating the blackness of transmutation that occurs within the psyche and within the spiritual process of evolution and ascension. And if you have the High Priestess, you are very good at that, and you may be good at that in all areas of your life. You may also have gifts that you could, intuitive gifts that you could use to nourish your abundance more. So that's amazing. I love when the High Priestess comes. Of course. Okay, and next, here's a little black pyramid for you, pile number 3. You beautiful basilian pile. Basilica. So what can you do to water? So if fertilizer is how can you prepare for your growth and your, the growth and opening of your flower of life, then this card will represent from your guides and ancestors. What can you do on a daily basis? So how can you water your flower of life? Basil. How can basil pile water your flower of life, please? My kind wise guides and ancestors. I'm going to take 2 for this. Oh, so you've got the 5 of Wands, which is understand that there could be many energies coming at you from many different directions, and there could be many energies competing for your attention. But I decided to pull 2, and the next one that came is the Joker in reverse. So I think this really means that there is a mystery factor that has not fully revealed itself, that is kind of still in a hanged man kind of energy, that will pop up and show you, which energy is really the most worthy of your attention. And sometimes when we fertilize the ground and when we water it, there are a variety of plants, in addition to the tree or the flower or the bush or the fruit or the veggie that we're trying to cultivate. There are many other plants that pop up, and sometimes one of them, could be a gift. You could, maybe a marijuana plant's gonna pop up in your garden or something. Or maybe the golden apple tree will pop up beside the red apple tree, who knows? A different variety of something that you are interested in cultivating. So let's see how you can tend your flower of life, basil people, basil pile. How can basil pile tend their flower of life? This Taurian energy. How can basil people tend their beautiful solar-powered garden? The light is so beautiful now. It's pink and purple now. Okay, this one. The rose. So you may be cultivating a rose garden. You may be cultivating beautiful relationships. Your heart may be evolving and opening. You may carry the divine feminine energy as the high priestess, and you may wish to really fully acknowledge that you're good at love, and you're good at giving and receiving and releasing love. And that is one of the most beautiful. You have the flower of life as your flower of life. So this is ensuring that you will have success in all ventures that you invest the tending of your precious and powerful human heart. Pile number 3. That is so beautiful. I think love is on the horizon for you this summer, or this winter if you're down in the southern hemisphere. Such a beautiful blessing. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a beautiful Taurian full moon celebration, our full moon in Scorpio, with lots of abundance and resulting in beautiful fluorescence for the rest of your seasons. Bye.